Hello and welcome to Hello Yellow. This is a program that showcases inspiring businesses and individuals. And today we're in the company of Antoinette Bekos, who is the co-founder of TUK Makeup and very successful in her own right in the industry of hair and makeup. Please join me in welcoming Antoinette. Welcome to the program.
Thanks. Hi, how are you going?
Good. So I guess we'll start with telling the story about TUK. What does it stand for, and how did the idea come about?
Okay, so basically about 3 years ago, we decided to, as a makeup artist and listening to clients and dealing with people all the time, we found that there was a lot of confusion in the market and a lot of people saying, I don't know how to do my makeup, I don't know what to do. I'm constantly confused and bombarded. And also for us to, like when we do an event makeup or when we do a bride, we tell them to go and buy all these products to take with them to touch up with. And then all of a sudden they've got this bulging makeup bag.
You can't even put your phone in.
So we thought there's got to be a better way. And as makeup artists, we customise our kits when we're on the road to go and do jobs. So we thought there's got to be a way to do it for a consumer or on a consumer level. And so we basically came out with this.
Beautiful.
And it's pretty much the size of an iPhone 11 and it is interchangeable. So you can mix your own colours into the palette and they're refillable and they're magnetic. And we thought, because we do that as a makeup artist, why can't people do that for themselves? You know, you get all these kits on the market where they tell you what you should be wearing, whereas like, no, you should be able to choose, and this does your whole entire face. So it just pretty much slides into your bag. You go, you don't have this big bulging makeup bag or 50,000 pieces in your car. You know, girls are always in the car trying to touch themselves up before they go somewhere. So this is pretty much all in one on the go.
Well, I love it, and it's no secret that I love you. I've been coming to you for my hair for many, many years. So when you were sort of talking to me very, you know, on the quiet, I couldn't wait because, you know, having done my hair and makeup over the journey of time, I do as your target consumer, you defer to you for your expertise, and also people want I also want to be a bit inspired around looking good, and you know, because over the journey of time you get used to doing your wings, hangover from the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is great that, you know, you're able to advise but also then enable people to do what they want to do as well.
Exactly, and it should be all about empowering you to be able to do what you like. Like, I mean, I'm not saying don't do your wings and don't do your eyeshadows and don't do all of that, but this is all about being able to either do something really simple on the go, or if you do have your makeup done by someone like myself or my business partner Danielle, you basically can go and touch up with something. Do you know what I mean? Like, we always want like that extra concealer if we're out on a night out, or if you're in a meeting.
A zhuzh.
Yeah, a bit of a zhuzh. That's what originally the name was going to be.
Was it?
Zhuzh. The zhuzh. But yeah, anyway, it hasn't been. We came up with the touch-up kit, TUK, as an acronym for the touch-up kit. So so it was like 3 years in the making, and unfortunately, because of COVID, as we all know, we were meant to go to Italy 3 years ago and work with developers and people just on the ground at a really good fair called Cosmetic. And that was, so we were cancelled the Sunday, we were leaving the Monday. Like literally the day before we were about to fly out, we were cancelled. So, but that's okay. It meant that through COVID, I didn't kill George and Alexander in the process. I had something to do, husband and child, had something to do, because obviously I have a salon, couldn't do that. So it was great. So we did a lot of our research and finding manufacturers and everything online. We ended up having it manufactured overseas, but we had it formulated here in Melbourne.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and he's amazing. Like this person here in Melbourne called Mamoon, who's amazing. He was just like, you know, when you say that you find someone that you're meant to have in the realm of what we were doing, we just found him through just people talking to Danielle and contacts and all the rest of it. And yeah, so he formulated it here. So for us too, it wasn't just about having the kit and it being customizable. It was about the makeup that goes into it had to be good as well.
It's excellent. I mean, I'm a massive fan, and I use it every day in lieu of actually a big makeup bag as it stands. But you know, to actually roll something out like this, it's no easy feat. Where do you actually start?
Oh, look, I couldn't, you know what's interesting? It's all such a blur now. I don't even know. I think we started with contacts. Like I had made a product many years ago with a company in New York because I have highly sensitive skin. So I can't actually use a lot of products on the market, unfortunately. I love putting them on people, but unfortunately for myself, I can't use them. So my journey began over 10 years ago when I found that I couldn't use foundations that were out there. They were amazing. I used to work at Channel 10 having people throw me all this product, put it on, I'd rash up. And it was just so frustrating. So back then I decided to make my own line of foundations that were good for your skin, which funnily enough has taken 10 years for it to become a thing. But anyway, every other company is now doing it. But I did that purely and utterly out of just for myself and worked with this amazing company over there. So they were the first people we probably called in this whole journey, and then worked out that they couldn't do it, so they put us on to the next person, and then they couldn't do it and they put us on. So it just evolved like that. So I think the thing is though, when you're doing a product or when you're trying something new, you just got to keep going. Let me tell you, there were so many moments where we wanted to give up.
You know,
so many moments where I'm like, I can't do this, I'm out, I'm done, I can't do this. But I knew that we had something, and the good thing about having two people in it, so the first time I did a product, it was me by myself, so it was harder, had no one to bounce off. Having two people's been great, because when I'm feeling like that, Danielle would be like, no, we're doing it. And when she was feeling like that, I'd be like, no, come on, Dan. So we were a really good balance and supportive for that sort of thing, because there were so many moments where both of us, we're out.
And so in those moments, so if Danielle said to you, look, I can't do this, or vice versa, what are some of the things that you would say to one another to keep forging forward?
I think for both of us, or for me, I knew we were onto something. I knew we had an amazing product. I knew that we were working with people that were just inspiring, and so we just had to keep going. And it's always something I wanted to do. So the one thing I did find is that I kept saying to myself, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So it was always like, if I didn't do this, I didn't want to die wondering. Yeah. So that was my thing that kept me going. It was like, no, come on, we can do it. And I think the times where we did feel like we couldn't be bothered, they were just setbacks. Like we had we had the packaging, for example. We had like 20,000 packaging people sending us stuff, and like, you go, oh,
overwhelming.
Yeah, and not just that, it was like really boring. Yeah, it's like everything. It's plastic. So the other thing too is like the recyclable thing that's in now for a lot of companies, the sustainable aspect, all of that. So a lot of it was plastic, shiny, matte. It was all just really boring. It was all really boring. So that's the other thing too. And see, these people who we found were at Cosmetic in Milan. So even though we'd come 3 years later, we still ended up in Milan. We had our packaging sorted, but then we changed it, which is one thing that both Danielle and I are mad, because we just run with something and then we're like, nah, that's not good. Run with the next thing, oh, that's not good. No. So it was just a constant
trial and error, almost.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, it's rewarding though. Like in the finished product, we're really proud of. The actual makeup inside, we're really proud of. So everything had to be aligned, otherwise we weren't going to go ahead. And that was the other thing. Every time we came up against these obstacles, it was like, what is it that we can change? Can we change it? If we can't go ahead. We always could find something, but we always somehow found a way, but yeah.
So would you argue that the obstacles and the adversity, like, you know, not being able to get on the plane to go to Milan and, you know, some of those day-to-day, you know, downers, they were actually really meaningful and actually important as part of this journey to get you to where, you know, you ended up?
Yeah, absolutely, because I think that without those, you don't ever push yourself to try something different, you know, like, or try and still, because we knew that what we wanted innately, it was just how were we going to get it. So, you know, you had to have those obstacles, because if you didn't have them, you wouldn't improve it. Like I said, you know, we started off with daggy plastic packaging. Like if we had to just stuck with that and gone, oh yeah, we're fabulous and this is great, you know, and not actually challenged ourselves and said, no, we could do it better, we just would have come out with something that was just like everything else on the market.
And so what would
for us, it had to be different.
Yeah. And so what would you say to those people that, you know, that sounds really great, but I don't have the money to start my own makeup line? What would you say to that?
That's everyone's problem. That was even ours. I think I think you've just got, look, it does come down to the budget, obviously, and it does coming down to have a really good business plan. And finding the manufacturers that will do it for you within the minimum order quantities that you can afford. Now, that was probably the hardest thing in the whole process, and that was our biggest setback. Finding people that were able to do, because, you know, they're dealing, a lot of these manufacturers in makeup are dealing with huge conglomerates that are doing like hundreds of thousands of pieces, you know, and we're like, oh, we can't do that straight up. Unless we had an investor, which we haven't. But do you know what I mean? Like, unless we had someone invest in it. We had to get to find people. And look, this, like I said, this person that we found in Melbourne that actually formulated it was like our guardian angel. He knew people, he'd been around for a long time, he'd manufactured overseas in the makeup space, and we just got lucky.
Previous guests have said that when the congruent is right, which is the alignment, are you a believer in that? Because you've just said there were guardian angels here and there. Do you believe that if you are living your truth, that that's something that helps guide you and propels you into that space?
Yeah, look, I think it does. I'm a bit 50-50 on that. Like, it's funny. I do believe in it, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I think it's work ethic and striving to make yourself better, working hard, having been around for a long time and having all the past experiences help me get to today. I think that's also helpful, as well as the other side. Yes, it aligns. Yes, you meet the right people at the right time. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's always just that
absolutely
alignment only,
yeah.
You know, and that's great to have as part of your journey, but I think it also is about you understanding that if it wasn't for my experience, my exposure, having met the right people along the way in my 20, 30 years of doing makeup, then I wouldn't have got here as well.
And you've met some significant people along the journey, people like Hugh Jackman, many, many more.
Yes.
I'll let you, celebrity brag. You know,
I don't do celebrity brag.
But certainly have, met
Yes.
all walks of life.
Yep.
Have there been any commonalities with those people, that these stars that you have taken on, some of their attributes? What would you say that there's been, certain consistencies of these people who are stars that you work
driven.
with? They're driven.
They're all driven, and they drive themselves to a point that, like, no normal person. This is why I said there's a bit of crazy in all of us that get us to this stage. Yeah, they're very driven, and they don't stop until they get what they want. But they're also, a lot of the ones I've worked with have been really lovely too. Do you know what I mean? Like, quite good to work with. Okay, you've had your occasional that you're like, don't hope I never see them again. But you know what I mean? Like, that's it.
Just
that's
life,
so,
though.
but
Yeah.
that's life. That's occasional. Like in our industry, you don't necessarily get along with anyone, but you're there to work. So for me, it was a job. Like, I'd go to these things. Yes, I might have met like a Hollywood celebrity and working with them, and yes, they could have been scary. But you know what? They're doing a job. I'm doing a job. I'm there to do it really well. And if they don't like me, half the time it's not about you. It's about whatever's going on in their lives at the time. You're just the person they decided to take it out on for the day.
How do you teach that? How do you teach
I don't think
that?
you can teach that. I think that's just innate. I think that's just understanding. Look, and there are times where if I've done a bad job and someone's mentioned it, I'll wear it. I'll be like, yeah, you know what? That wasn't as good as it could have been. I'm very much into understanding. I love constructive feedback, because that's the only way I've ever grown. If I've always thought that I'm amazing, and even to this day, like, I still don't care who it is, whether it's a client in my salon, whether it's some big celebrity, I'm always challenging myself to make it look good, do better. And if they don't like it, like, sometimes it's a personality clash, sometimes it's actually you haven't done a good job. Got to do better.
So you've got a really great work ethic. Where do you think that comes from?
My family, growing up.
And what's your background?
Italian.
So I think good, strong, workers. And if you could go back again, you've obviously, been so successful, obviously with TUK Makeup, but also in the hair salon, and you've been an entrepreneur and a trailblazer. If you could go back to tell your younger self something, what would that be?
Oh, God, not to be scared, and just believe in yourself. And because there's a lot of things that I probably think that I didn't take the opportunity when it presented, because I was petrified, or because I thought I wasn't good enough, or do you know what I mean? Like, all those things that, that voice
Negative
in your
critic,
head, that
yep.
negative sabotaging myself. If I had to do that all over again, I probably wouldn't self-sabotage, which I think I've done a lot of. And I've only until I got older where I went, you know what, it doesn't matter. Like, I've just got to, yeah, some people like you, some people don't, and it's fine.
So it's more about life experiences. So, I mean, I wonder whether or not you would actually have listened then if you could tell yourself that.
I don't know. It's a hard one. I don't know where that came from or why, and I'm sure I have moments of it now still. But yeah, like, I think back to a lot of opportunities that I was given and I'm like, why didn't I just say yes to that? Why did I say no? Why didn't I just go for it? What was holding me back? And honestly, I couldn't tell you. I think also too, I was in an environment when I was working in TV that was quite toxic. Lovely, but toxic in a lot of ways. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was some amazing people that you met and then some really jealous, toxic people around you, and it was just trying to balance whether what they were saying or was valid. Yeah, and I think at times I believed what that was. It's fine. It's like, I think it's the journey you have to have, and I think it's meant to be the way it's meant to be. Like, I don't regret anything. Got to say that.
That's great.
Yeah, I definitely don't regret any of it. I definitely don't regret any of those negative aspects. I think, like I was saying, I think they're only there to make you grow. Like, if I didn't have that, I never would have pushed myself to have my own business. I never would have pushed myself to get out of my comfort zone. I could have stayed in television forever and that would have been great. There would have been nothing wrong with that, but that just would have been comfortable, as opposed to pushing myself out of that comfort zone and them helping me just go, oh, you know what, I don't need this. I need to move on and do something else. And that's how we got to here. If that all didn't happen and I didn't reverse that mindset to believe that it turned it into a positive, I just would have just been stuck in television land because I thought that's all I could do.
Amazing. So if people want to find out more about AB Hair and Makeup and TUK Makeup, where do they go to?
Well, our website is tukmakeup.com, and then the other one's pretty easy too, abhairandmakeup.com.au.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm inspired. I hope you're inspired at home or wherever you're listening or watching, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks again, Ant.
Thank you.